The mahogany doors of Harrison Global's main conference room felt heavier than usual as I pushed them open. 24 pairs of eyes turned to watch me enter, board members, executives, and family, all gathered for what my father had cryptically called an emergency succession meeting. I took my usual seat at the far end of the table opposite my father. At 32, I'd spent the last decade building our family's investment firm into something remarkable, transforming my grandfather's modest trading company into a modern financial empire. But today felt different. The tension in the room was palpable. My father, William Harrison Sr., stood at the head of the table, his new wife, Victoria, beaming beside him. Her two children, Marcus and Sophia, both in their mid-20s, sat to his right, wearing matching expressions of barely contained excitement. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice," my father began, straightening his tie. "As you know, Harrison Global has been a family business for 3 generations. Today we're announcing some strategic changes to ensure our continued success." I maintained my composure, though my stomach tightened. Over the past year, since my father's remarriage, I'd watched him gradually distance himself from me. The signs were there: private meetings excluded from my calendar, whispered conversations that stopped when I entered rooms, and the increasing presence of Marcus at high-level discussions despite his complete lack of financial experience. William Jr. has served as our chief investment officer for the past 5 years, my father continued, not meeting my eyes. While his contributions are noted, the board and I have concluded that fresh perspectives are needed to lead us into the future. Several board members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They knew as well as I did that under my leadership, Harrison Global's assets under management had grown from $2 billion to $47 billion. Our return rates consistently outperformed every major index. Effective immediately, Marcus Peterson will assume the role of Chief Investment Officer, with Sophia Peterson taking over as Head of Global Strategy. My father's voice carried an air of finality. Their combined experience in various fields will bring new energy to our organization. Marcus, a former yoga instructor who'd never completed college, straightened his poorly fitted suit. Sophia, who'd spent the last 3 years as a social media influencer, flashed her perfectly whitened teeth at the board. I didn't flinch. Instead, I opened my laptop and quietly logged into my secure email. Furthermore, my father continued, growing more confident with my apparent acceptance, the family's investment portfolio will be restructured. The majority of our holdings will be transferred to ensure equal distribution among all my children. Victoria squeezed his arm appreciatively. The woman who'd been his secretary just 18 months ago was now orchestrating my removal from my own company. "Does anyone have any questions?" my father asked, his tone suggesting he expected none. Old Mr. Thompson, who'd served on our board since my grandfather's time, raised a shaking hand. "William, with all due respect, your son has delivered unprecedented returns. Our clients, Marcus interrupted, his voice carrying the distinctive tone of someone who'd never earned anything in his life, need innovation, social media presence, a modern approach." He gestured to his sister. "Sophia has over 2 million followers on Instagram. That's the future of finance." Several board members exchanged concerned glances. Our clients weren't teenagers looking for investment tips on social media, they were sovereign wealth funds, pension plans, and ultra-high net worth individuals who trusted us with billions. "The decision is final," my father declared. "The legal team has prepared all necessary documents. William Jr. will maintain a minor advisory role, but operational control transfers effective immediately." I closed my laptop quietly. "Is that all?" My father's confidence wavered slightly at my calm. He'd expected protests, anger, perhaps even begging. Instead, he got nothing but a polite inquiry. "Yes, that's all. Marcus, would you like to say a few words about your vision?" As Marcus stood, fumbling with his note cards, I gathered my things and walked out. Behind me, I could hear him struggling to pronounce cryptocurrency integration paradigm. In my office, I made 3 calls. The first was to Swiss Bank AG, confirming that the sealed documents were ready for release. The second was to my private investigator, authorizing the distribution of his findings. The third was to Angela Chen, the lead financial reporter at the Wall Street Journal, who'd been sitting on an explosive story for 3 months, waiting for my green light. Then I waited. It took exactly 47 minutes for everything to unravel. My father burst into my office, his face red with fury, waving his phone. "What have you done?" I looked up calmly from my computer screen. "I haven't done anything, Dad. I've just been sitting here, accepting my new advisory role. The Journal is running a story about offshore accounts. The SEC is asking questions. The Swiss are." He stopped, realization dawning on his face. "Sit down, Dad," I said quietly. "We need to talk about who really owns Harrison Global." He sank into the chair across from my desk, suddenly looking older than his 60 years. "When grandfather passed away 5 years ago," I began. "He left me more than just his shares in the company. He left me his wisdom. Trust, but verify," he used to say. So when you started having private meetings with lawyers last year, I paid attention. When you began shifting assets, I tracked every move. I turned my monitor so he could see it. You thought you were being clever, setting up shell companies in Victoria's name, transferring assets gradually. But every step of the way, I was 3 steps ahead. "What are you talking about?" he demanded, but his voice lacked conviction. "The ownership structure you're looking at. It's not just the family portfolio, it's everything. Harrison Global, our subsidiaries, our client relationships, even the building we're sitting in. Through a series of holding companies and trusts, I own 78% of everything." He stared at the screen, then at me. "That's impossible. I would have known." "Would you? You were too busy planning my removal to notice that every major client relationship has been legally bound to me personally for the past year. Too preoccupied with your new family to realize that every significant trade, every major investment decision, was structured through my private holdings. You can't do this," he whispered. "I already have. The SEC is currently investigating the attempts to transfer company assets without proper disclosure to shareholders. The Swiss authorities are examining some questionable transactions Victoria made last month. And the board?" I glanced at my watch. "They should be receiving detailed documentation of everything right about now." As if on cue, his phone buzzed. Messages from board members, from lawyers, from compliance officers, all demanding explanations. "Why?" he asked finally. "Why go to all this trouble? You could have just told me you knew." I stood up, straightening my suit. "Because you needed to learn something, Dad. The same lesson grandfather taught me: never take loyalty for granted." Walking to the window, I looked out over the Manhattan skyline. "You didn't just try to push me out. You tried to hand over our clients' futures to a yoga instructor and an influencer. People trust us with their life savings, their children's education funds, their retirement. What you did wasn't just a betrayal of me, it was a betrayal of everything this company stands for." "I was trying to protect my family," he protested weakly. "No," I corrected him. "You were trying to please your new wife by giving her children something they didn't earn. But this isn't a summer home or a trust fund, Dad. This is a responsibility, one that I've spent my entire adult life honoring." The intercom buzzed. "Mr. Harrison, the board has called an emergency meeting. They're requesting your immediate presence." "Which Mr. Harrison?" my father asked. "William Harrison Jr., sir." They were very specific. I gathered my files. "You should call Victoria. The FBI will probably want to speak with her about those wire transfers to the Caymans." "You do this to your own family?" he asked as I reached the door. I paused. "Family? When Mom died, you told me that family means standing together, supporting each other, building something lasting. Then you tried to destroy everything we built to impress your new wife. So tell me, Dad, which one of us forgot what family means?" Leaving him in my office, I walked toward the conference room, where 22 board members waited for answers. In my briefcase were detailed plans for restructuring, strategies for growth, and ironclad legal documents proving my ownership. My phone buzzed, a text from my grandfather's old friend Mr. Thompson. "Your grandfather would be proud." I smiled slightly. The real work was just beginning. Harrison Global wasn't just a company, it was a legacy, and I had proven myself worthy of protecting it. As I pushed open those mahogany doors again, I saw the future clearly. It wouldn't be easy, rebuilding trust with the board, reassuring clients, and restructuring the company. But I had something my father, Marcus, and Sophia never understood. The understanding that true wealth isn't just about money, it's about responsibility, integrity, and vision. The board members looked up as I entered, their faces a mix of concern, relief, and respect. I took my place at the head of the table, my father's old seat. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, let's talk about the future of Harrison Global. The following week unfolded like a carefully orchestrated symphony. Each revelation, each legal document, each disclosure hit precisely when and where it would cause maximum impact. I sat in my new office, formerly my father's, reviewing the damage reports. Victoria and her children had vacated the building within hours of the SEC launching their investigation. My father, facing potential criminal charges for attempted securities fraud, had taken an indefinite leave of absence. "Sir," my assistant Michael interrupted via intercom. "The Financial Times is on line 1. They're asking about the ownership restructuring announcement." I picked up the phone. "William Harrison speaking. Mr. Harrison, Sarah Matthews from FT. Care to comment on the rumors that Harrison Global is undergoing a major leadership overhaul?" "Harrison Global is implementing previously planned succession protocols," I replied smoothly. "We're consolidating ownership and management structures to better serve our clients' interests. Our fundamentals remain strong, with assets under management now exceeding $50 billion. After handling the press call, I turned to the stack of folders on my desk. The top one contained photos from my private investigator, Victoria at various banks in the Caymans, Marcus meeting with competitors, Sophia attempting to access secure servers after hours, all evidence of their failed coup. A knock at my door drew my attention. Mr. Thompson entered, looking both weary and relieved. "The client calls are going better than expected," he said, settling into a chair. Once we explained the situation and showed them the new security measures, most seemed relieved. "Your father's plan would have put their investments at serious risk." I nodded, pulling up our client dashboard. 97% retention so far. The 3% we lost were Victoria's friends who she brought in last year. No significant impact. "And William Sr.?" Thompson asked carefully. "The board's decision was unanimous. He's out, but we're handling it quietly. Official story is early retirement to spend time with family." I managed to keep the bitterness from my voice. "In exchange for his resignation and Victoria's family signing comprehensive NDAs, we're not pursuing criminal charges." Thompson nodded approvingly. Measured response. "Your grandfather would have done the same." A notification popped up on my screen. Our stock was up 12% since the announcement of the planned succession. "The market likes stability," I commented. "And competent leadership." Speaking of leadership, Thompson leaned forward. "There's something else we need to discuss." Something else we need to discuss. The Asian expansion." "Ah, yes. The project my father had deliberately sabotaged to make my leadership look weak." I pulled out another folder, already handled. While everyone was distracted by the succession drama, I closed deals with 3 major Singapore funds. "We're opening the Hong Kong office next month." Thompson's eyebrows rose. "You've been busy." I learned from my grandfather, always have a backup plan. Or in this case several. I showed him the detailed strategy documents. Everything my father tried to derail, I was quietly fixing behind the scenes. "And the personal cost?" Thompson asked softly. "He's still your father." I stood and walked to the window, looking out at the city skyline. "The personal cost was paid the moment he decided his new wife's children deserved what I'd spent a decade building. Some things can't be undone." My phone buzzed, a message from my security team. My father was in the lobby, requesting a meeting. "Speaking of things that can't be undone," I showed Thompson the message. "What do you think?" The old man stood slowly. "I think you're now the CEO of one of the largest private investment firms in the world. Whether you meet with him is no longer a family decision, it's a business one." After Thompson left, I sat thinking for several minutes before pressing the intercom. Michael, please escort my father to conference room B and call legal. I want 2 witnesses present. 15 minutes later, I entered the conference room. My father had aged years in a week. His usual impeccable appearance was slightly disheveled. His shoulders slumped. Junior, he started. William, I corrected him. Or Mr. Harrison, if you prefer. This is a business meeting. He flinched but nodded. I've been thinking about what you said. About responsibility and legacy. Have you? I opened my laptop, making sure the recording software was running. I assumed you were busy helping Victoria explain those mysterious wire transfers to federal investigators. She's gone, he said quietly. Took the kids and left for Europe once the investigation started. Turns out you were right about their motivations. I usually am. It's why our clients trust me with their money. The barb hit home. Why are you here? He pulled out a folder, old worn leather. I recognized it immediately. Grandfather's original business plan for Harrison Trading, dated 1962. Your grandfather built this company from nothing, my father said, placing the folder on the table. I thought I was protecting his legacy by keeping it in the family. I didn't realize that Marcus and Sophia weren't family, that they just wanted the money, not the responsibility. That's why grandfather left controlling interest to me, not you. He saw what you couldn't. What do you want from me? He asked finally. I looked at him carefully. Nothing. You have nothing I want or need. The company is secure, our clients are protected, and our reputation will recover. This meeting is a courtesy because of the name we share. And my role here, you have none. The board's decision is final. You'll retain the shares grandfather left you, about 8% of the company, but you'll have no operational involvement. Your retirement package is generous, provided you maintain complete silence about recent events. He nodded slowly, running his hand over grandfather's folder. You know, he told me this would happen. The day he changed his will, he said you were the future of Harrison Global. I should have listened. Yes, you should have. I stood, signaling the end of the meeting. The security team will escort you out. Please don't attempt to enter the building again without an appointment. As he reached the door, he turned. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. You protected everything I almost destroyed. Goodbye, Dad, I said, turning back to my laptop. After he left, I opened grandfather's folder. Inside, behind the business plan, was a letter I'd never seen before. It was addressed to me, dated just before his death. Dear William, if you're reading this, you've probably just saved the company from some damn fool decision your father made. He's a good man, but he trusts too easily, loves too quickly, and never learned the difference between family loyalty and business sense. You have both. That's why you're reading this letter. Remember 3 things. Power isn't about control, it's about responsibility. Family isn't always blood, and blood isn't always family. The hardest decisions are usually the right ones. Take care of my life's work, grandson. You were always the one I built it for. Love, grandfather. I carefully folded the letter and locked it in my desk. Outside my office, Harrison Global continued its operations. Traders made deals, analysts crunched numbers, clients entrusted us with their futures. My phone buzzed again. The Hong Kong team needed approval on the new office lease. Singapore wanted to discuss increasing their investment. London was calling about a potential acquisition. The future was calling, and I had work to do. After all, I had a legacy to protect. 3 months after the failed takeover attempt, I stood in our new Hong Kong office watching the sunrise over Victoria Harbour. The expansion was proceeding exactly as planned, better actually, without my father's interference. My phone vibrated, an urgent message from our security team back in New York. Sir, Marcus Peterson attempted to access the trading floor this morning using an old security badge. When denied entry, he claimed to have sensitive information about company operations. Security Protocol Alpha 7 initiated. I smirked. Of course they'd try something like this. Victoria and her children had burned through their settlement money in record time, and now they were desperate. Implement Contingency Protocol Delta, I texted back, and send me the surveillance footage. The video showed Marcus, his designer suit now wrinkled and off-brand, arguing with security. Gone was the cocky wannabe executive who'd tried to steal my position. In his place stood a desperate man who'd learned the hard way that money without skill or knowledge doesn't last long. My next call was to our head of legal. Marcus made his move. Exactly as predicted. We're ready, she replied. The injunction is already filed. If he tries to shop any supposed insider informations to our competitors, he'll face immediate legal action. Plus, the NDAs he signed have some rather creative penalty clauses. I'd learned from Victoria's attempted betrayal, every legal document now had teeth. A knock at my office door interrupted my thoughts. James Wong, our new head of Asian operations, entered with a tablet. The Singapore Sovereign Wealth Fund just doubled their investment, he announced. They're impressed with how we handled the recent management transitions. I nodded. Send them the new prospectus for our tech fund. They'll want to get in early. There's something else, James added hesitantly. Your father has been making calls to our major clients in London. Of course he had. I pulled up our client protection protocol on my laptop. How many? He reached out to 7. All of them contacted us immediately to report the attempts. I allowed myself a small smile. At least we'd rebuilt client trust effectively. Send them all our appreciation gifts, the premium package, and activate the legal team in London. Already done. James paused. There's a board meeting next week. They'll want to discuss making the interim leadership changes permanent. The interim tag on my CEO position had been a formality, a nod to corporate governance. But now, with the company's value up 23% and client confidence restored, it was time to make things official. My phone buzzed again. A message from Mr. Thompson. Victoria's been spotted at Goldman Sachs, trying to shop her story. Forward their legal department our file. I texted back. They'll shut her down once they see what she tried to do here. Looking out over Hong Kong's skyline, I reflected on how much had changed. The company was stronger now, more resilient. We'd used the crisis to clean house, modernize operations, and strengthen our compliance protocols. Every attack my father's new family had attempted had only served to improve our defenses. A final message came through. This one from an unknown number. Junior, we need to talk. Things don't have to be this way. Dad, I showed the message to James. Add this number to the block list. And schedule a call with the board for tomorrow. It's time to implement the final phase. The complete restructuring, James asked. Yes. New corporate structure, new board composition, new voting rights. By the time we're done, no one will ever be able to attempt what they tried again. Later that evening, in my hotel suite, I reviewed the restructuring documents. The new Harrison Global would be a fortress, protected not just by legal structures but by a network of fail-safes and checks that would make any future takeover attempt impossible. My laptop chimed, a video call from Mr. Thompson. The board is unanimous, he said without preamble. Tomorrow's vote will make you the youngest CEO in our history. Your father's remaining shares will be bought out at market rate and the company will finally be fully under your control. Any word from Marcus or Sophia? Thompson chuckled. After their failed attempts to sell non-existent secrets, they're on every major bank's blacklist. Victoria's trying to shop a book deal. But our lawyers have that covered too. I nodded. And Dad? Retired to Florida. Officially at least. Word is he's trying to start a small investment advisory firm. But no one in the industry will touch him. Your grandfather's old contacts made sure of that. The mention of my grandfather reminded me of his letter. Power isn't about control. It's about responsibility. I'd taken that to heart, using my control not for revenge but to strengthen and protect what he'd built. The Hong Kong expansion is just the beginning, I told Thompson. We're looking at opportunities in Dubai, Mumbai, and Sao Paulo. The future of finance is global, and we'll be leading the charge. Your grandfather would be proud, Thompson said. Not just of the business success, but of how you handled everything. You protected the company without destroying your father completely. That takes strength. After ending the call, I worked late into the night, finalizing the details of our global expansion. The attempted takeover had taught me valuable lessons about trust, power, and the importance of staying 3 steps ahead. My phone buzzed one final time. A news alert. Victoria had given an interview to a small financial blog, trying to spin her story. The market's response. Harrison Global's stock hit another all-time high. I closed my laptop and poured myself a drink, watching the lights of Hong Kong twinkle below. Tomorrow I would become the official CEO of Harrison Global. The board would approve our expansion plans, and the company my grandfather built would begin its next chapter. My father had taught me an unexpected lesson. Sometimes the greatest threats come from those closest to you.
Oh.
But I'd learned an even more important lesson from my grandfather. True power lies not in what you can take, but in what you can build and protect. The sun was rising over Victoria Harbour as I finished the last details of our restructuring plan. In a few hours, the financial world would wake up to a new Harrison Global. Stronger, more secure, and ready for the future. My father had tried to give away my life's work. Instead, he'd given me the opportunity to build something even greater. 1 year to the day after my father's attempted coup, I stood at the podium in Harrison Global's main auditorium, addressing our annual shareholders meeting. The room was packed with investors, board members, and financial press, all eager to hear about our record-breaking year. Harrison Global's assets under management have reached $89 billion. I announced, letting the numbers sink in. Our global expansion has exceeded all projections, with new offices in Dubai and Mumbai operating at full capacity. But more importantly, our client trust rating is at an all-time high. From my position, I could see Mr. Thompson beaming in the front row. Next to him sat an empty chair. My father's old seat. He'd finally accepted the buyout offer last month, ending his connection to the company entirely. The attempted hostile takeover last year, I continued, addressing the elephant in the room, taught us valuable lessons about corporate governance and security. Today I'm pleased to announce that our new protection protocols have become the industry standard, with 3 major banks adopting our compliance framework. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. My father's failed power grab had transformed Harrison Global into a template for corporate security. After the presentation, during the private reception, Mr. Thompson pulled me aside. "Have you seen this?" He handed me his tablet, showing a small news item. My father had filed for bankruptcy. His attempt to start a new investment firm had failed spectacularly. Victoria and her children were nowhere to be found. "Will you help him?" Thompson asked quietly. I took a moment before responding. "The company will honor his pension, as agreed. Beyond that, he made his choices." Just then my phone buzzed with an alert from our Singapore office. Another major sovereign wealth fund wanted to increase their investment. Our Asian expansion was exceeding even my optimistic projections. "Your grandfather's original business plan," Thompson mused, "called for Harrison Global to become a testament to long-term thinking and unwavering integrity. I'd say you've achieved that." Looking around the reception, I saw the next generation of Harrison Global taking shape. Young analysts I'd personally recruited, veteran traders who'd stood by me during the crisis, international partners who shared our vision. "We're not just managing money," I replied. "We're protecting legacies, our clients, our employees, and yes, my grandfather's." My assistant approached with an urgent message. The Financial Times wanted an exclusive interview about our upcoming tech fund launch. CNBC was requesting a live appearance to discuss our global expansion. Bloomberg wanted commentary on our innovative security protocols. A year ago they were writing about our family drama, I noted. Now they're writing about our success. As the reception wound down, I returned to my office, no longer feeling like my father's old space but truly mine. On my desk sat grandfather's folder, containing his original business plan and letter. I'd added something new, a printed copy of today's market close, showing Harrison Global's stock at an all-time high. My phone buzzed one final time that day. An unknown number, but I knew who it was. Junior, my father's voice sounded tired. "I heard about the shareholders meeting." "It's done, Dad," I replied calmly. "The company's secured. The legacy's protected. Let it go." A long pause.
You did what I never could.
"You made it truly great." "Goodbye, Dad," I said, ending the call. Looking out over the city lights, I thought about legacy, not just the financial empire, but the principles behind it. Integrity, vision, responsibility. My father had forgotten these things, seduced by the trappings of wealth and new family connections. I opened my laptop one last time, reviewing tomorrow's agenda. Board meetings in Hong Kong, client presentations in Dubai, strategy sessions in London. Harrison Global had become truly global, just as my grandfather had dreamed. The attempted takeover had failed, but it had given birth to something stronger. Sometimes I realized, you have to almost lose everything to build something unbreakable. Mr. Thompson's words from a year ago echoed in my mind. Your grandfather would be proud. He was right, but not just because of the company's success. He would be proud because we'd protected his legacy, the right way, through excellence, innovation, and unwavering principles. As I prepared to leave for the day, I looked at the 3 framed photographs on my wall. My grandfather breaking ground on our first office building, my father and me at my college graduation, and now me at the opening of our Hong Kong office. 3 generations of Harrison men, but only one true vision. The company wasn't just secure now, it was thriving, and its future was brighter than ever.
End of story.